The coordination between the Russian state and Girkin's group, along with the Kremlin's obvious power to stop them, means that the Russian state's actions were more disruptive to the normal course of events than the personal motives of the group members. Even though Girkin's group depended on local support, the abnormalism paradigm points to Girkin's actions as the primary condition for the occupation and the subsequent escalation of the conflict. In the context of the political situation in eastern Ukraine in April 2014, it is not surprising that there were some activists in Slovyansk and Kramatorsk who were willing to support a Russian invasion. The arrival of heavily armed men from Russia with the determination and ability to lead an insurrection is far more disruptive to the normal course of events than the fact that some locals were willing to jump on these men's bandwagon. And now my fourth point. Girkin did play an important role, obviously, but it wasn't only him. There were many other separatist leaders with clear links to the Russian state. There were Igor Bezler, Alexander Baradai, Nikolai Kazitsyn, and others. At the end of September 2022, Yevgeny Prigozhin went a step further and explicitly admitted his own involvement in the creation of the Wagner Group, as well as the group's involvement in fighting at Luhansk airport in 2014. And now I'm quoting Prigozhin, apologies for that. I cleaned old weapons, sorted out bulletproof vests, and found specialists who could help me. From this moment, May the 1st, 2014, the group of patriots was born that subsequently acquired the name Battalion Tactical Group Wagner. Only because of their bravery and courage it became possible to liberate Luhansk airport and many other territories, and the fate of the Luhansk People's Republic and the Donetsk People's Republic changed dramatically. So here we have another case of the Russian side actually openly admitting its involvement. Just like Girkin in his many interviews, Prigozhin actually confirms virtually all Ukrainian accusations against him. So finally, what does all of this mean for the current situation? And just to finish off my brief remarks, I'll just read you a short passage from the conclusion. This book has shown that the events of 2014 are aggravating rather than mitigating circumstances in any assessment of Russia's actions in 2022. The Russian regime's claim that it had to intervene after watching 8 years of civil war is not only twisting, but completely inverting the truth. It is true that the war started in 2014 rather than 2022, but already back then it was Russia who started it. The invasion of 2022 is already Russia's second attempt to destroy Ukraine as an independent, westward-looking state by military means. It was not a one-off overreaction that developed a life of its own, but part of a long-term agenda. This must be kept in mind when considering any kind of negotiations or agreements with Russia. It is key that Russian efforts to destroy Ukraine come to an end once and for all. Russia must never get a third opportunity to attack. Western weapons deliveries and Western training for Ukrainian soldiers are not an obstacle preventing negotiations. They are a prerequisite for any meaningful peace talks. Lasting peace cannot be based on trust and declarations of goodwill, but only on deterrence. Another deal like the Minsk agreements, which leaves Russia in control over Ukrainian territory, while it leaves Ukraine vulnerable to a new offensive some years down the line, is not an option. Ukraine must either receive security guarantees on par with NATO's collective security obligations, or it must be armed to an extent that prevents any decision maker in Moscow from even toying with the idea to finish what was started in 2014. This book has also shown that there's not even a shred of legitimacy to Moscow's claims over the territory of the so-called People's Republics in the Donbas. Discussions on the restoration of Ukraine's pre-war borders cannot refer to the territory controlled by Kiev on February 23, 2022. The Donetsk People's Republic and the Luhansk People's Republic are occupied by Russia, just like those areas of Ukraine that the Russian military seized in 2022. Recognizing any Russian claim over these territories would mean recognizing a violent land grab. This does not necessarily mean that reconquering the whole of the Donbas by military means is feasible or advisable. However, this is a decision for the Ukrainian authorities and the Ukrainian military to make. After all the country has been through, it is not up to the West to tell Ukraine how much of its own territory it is allowed to liberate and what risks it is allowed to take.